Part 10, The Book Thief, featuring The End of the World, The 98th Day, A War Maker, Way of the Words, A Catatonic Girl, Confessions, Ilsa Herman's Little Black Book, Some Rib Cage Plains, and A Mountain Range of Rubble. The End of the World, Part 1. Again I offer you a glimpse of the end. Perhaps it's to soften the blow for later or to better prepare myself for the telling. Either way, I must inform you that it was raining on Himmel Street when the world ended for Liesel Meminger. The sky was dripping. Like a tap that a child has tried its hardest to turn off but hasn't quite managed. The first drops were cool. I felt them on my hands as I stood outside Fraudiller's. Above me I could hear them. Through the overcast sky I looked up and saw the tin can planes. I watched their stomachs open and the bombs drop casually out. They were off target, of course. They were often off target. A small, sad hope. No one wanted to bomb Himmel Street. No one would bomb a place named after heaven, would they? Would they? The bombs came down. So Death is basically telling us what happened. He's explaining how it's going to end. The bombs came down, and soon the clouds would bake and the cold raindrops would turn to ash. Hot snowflakes would shower to the ground. In short, Himmel Street was flattened. Houses were splashed from one side of the street to the other. A framed photo of a very serious-looking Fuhrer was bashed and beaten on the shattered floor. Yet he smiled in that serious way of his. He knew something we all didn't know, but I knew something he didn't know. All while people slept. So we know nga, the bombs will fall on Himmel Street, good. And when the bombs are falling, they're supposed to be warned. There's supposed to be an alarm. There's supposed to be a warning. And that's why they've been in the basement. That's why Liesel has been reading to them in the basement. That's the whole point, no? I mean, that's how it went. That's what they've been doing for the last few chapters, where an alarm rings, they all go to the basement where it's safe, in case the bombs fall on Himmel Street. Rudy Steiner slept, Mama and Papa slept, Frau Holtzapfel, Frau Diller, Tommy Muller, all sleeping, all dying. Only one person survived. She survived because she was sitting in a basement reading through the story of her own life, checking for mistakes. Previously, the room had been declared too shallow, but on that night, October 7, it was enough. The shells of wreckage cantered down, and hours later, when the strange, unkempt silence settled itself in Mulking, the local LSE could hear something. An echo. Down there, somewhere, a girl was hammering a paint can with a pencil. They all stopped with bent ears and bodies, and when they heard it again, they started digging. Okay, so Liesel only survived this bombing in the end of the book because she was in the basement reading. She was in the basement reading, no? And she fell asleep in the basement while reading, and so the alarms didn't ring, and so everyone stayed in bed, everyone was sleeping, and so everyone was bombed. But Liesel, since she was in her basement, she survived. Even though her basement was shallow, even though her basement was judged to be too shallow, not to be safe, it was safe enough. And rescuers were able to rescue her because she was banging her pencil on a paint can underneath all the rubble. Past items hand to hand. Blocks of cement and roof tiles, a piece of wall with a dripping sun painted on it, an unhappy-looking accordion peering through its eaten case. They threw all of it upward. When another piece of broken wall was removed, one of them saw the book thief's hair. The man had such a nice laugh. He was delivering a newborn child. I can't believe it, she's alive. There was so much joy among the cluttering calling men, but I could not fully share their enthusiasm. Earlier, I'd held her papa in one arm and her mama in the other. Each soul was so soft. Farther away, their bodies were laid out like the rest. Papa's lovely silver eyes were already starting to rust, and Mama's cardboard lips were fixed half open, most likely the shape of an incomplete snore, to blaspheme like the Germans. The rescuing hands pulled Liesel out and brushed the... I hate it so much. Hans Habermann was always described as having silver eyes, no? He was always described as having silver eyes, and now we know he's gonna die, and it's described his eyes started to rust. Again, this is just a flash forward, guys. No, Death is just being a jerk. Or I don't know if he's being a jerk. I don't know what he's doing, but he's just showing us the ending. Ahead of time. To prepare us, or to prepare himself. The rescuing hands pulled Liesel out and brushed the crumbs of rubble from her clothes. Young girl, they said, the sirens were too late. What were you doing in the basement? How did you know? What they didn't notice was that the girl was still holding the book. She screamed her reply, a stunning scream of the living. Papa. A second time, her face creased as she reached a higher, more panic-stricken pitch. Papa, Papa. They passed her up as she shouted, wailed, and cried. If she was injured, she did not yet know it, for she struggled free and searched and called and wailed some more. She was still clutching the book. She was holding desperately on to the words who had saved her life. I hate this book.